Ừm. Đó. Ừm. Ôi!
Hi.
I could get some of the soup because I think some of the I don't need the meat. I don't need to put a little bit of water in it. So I only want one or two little dough. I don't want, not now though. Good night.
Good night.
Good evening.
Well, I don't know how much person's gonna be here because I see y'all have so much water. Shit. Y'all didn't have to go to no water because I know one person said they stuck in the water.
Yeah, this water really, really, really bad.
Yeah, I got stuck as well too at one point.
Gee. And don't come by Commonwealth Bank. I even see out by where I live by the police station, out Carmichael. I'm like, well, gee, where all the water come from? It's just like water seem to be all over.
Yes,
And
and
they say,
Cowpen Road as well.
right, because they showed somebody sent a picture by the graveyard.
Yes,
I'm
by
just like,
Canard, yes. It's bad.
whoa, this has never happened. Oh my God. I know in Nova Scotia and Halifax in Canada, hey, last week they were Saturday or Friday, they were really underwater too. Yep, global warming. Yep, that's what's happening. So some persons will be here. Miss Francis,
Hey, Miss Smith.
hi, you got the assignment?
No, ma'am, it didn't come to me.
It didn't?
So I was supposed to reach out to you, because I know you said that we would have one, but I didn't
Yeah.
get it to my email and I didn't get it.
Oh, well, I have to send it because I thought you got it. Because I sent it to everybody because it was due on Wednesday, but I guess you're gonna have to do it with your assignment for 5 and 6 because you remember y'all have exam next Saturday. And Monday is no class. Okay,
Right.
there's no class on Monday because I traveled from Canada on Monday because Monday was supposed to be the exam. So the exam will not be until Saturday. And I was told by Miss Dean that the exam is no longer online, I guess, because I know when I taught last year, persons were cheating. So I guess no. For the exam now, y'all have to go to BIFS to do the exam.
Okay.
Yeah, so the exam is 10 o'clock next week, Saturday, on the 5th at BIFS. So yeah, but
Miss Smith, will I be able to do the exam when I get back, or can I
yes,
do
you
it
can.
online? Okay.
Yeah, you
Thank you.
can do it when you come back. When you return,
I am back on the 13th.
yeah, you could go to
So
BIFS. I'll make sure Miss Dean knows, and you can just go there. Just tell me which date you're gonna go.
Okay.
Message
Okay.
me the date so you can go and do it there. Yeah.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Mhm. Well, like I say, it's only how much of us? 4 of us. Because I guess a lot of people get stuck in the water. The water was just, I don't even know what the government is going to do when it comes to this water situation. It's like really bad, really, really bad. And if you had an opportunity to look at chapter 6, chapter 6 is kind of short and it's just talking about competition in retail banking. And I guess you could expand beyond just competition in retail banking. You could expand in competition overall, what kind of competition is really out there. So anybody got an opportunity to look at it?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I didn't give y'all a version of my book because most of it almost the same thing here in the actual book that y'all have. So like I say, competition. Anybody want to explain to me what competition is? What is the meaning of competition? And any examples of, entities that you could say is where you find competition, or the ones that you just find monopoly, so persons don't actually have to worry about the competition.
I would say BPL.
BPL is one of them. No
Yes.
competition there. The ones that have competition in retail banking, banks.
Your Scotia, your
Scotia
Royal,
and Royal,
even your
Yeah.
Bahamian banks,
Commonwealth Bank and BOB.
well,
Don't forget Fidelity. Competition.
yeah.
It's a lot of competition. When it comes to retail banking in our country, it's plenty competition. Plenty competition because every bank offering the same services and the same products. Only difference is what rates are you giving me? Yeah, but the bank's competition is really tough in the Bahamas, and like we talked about it before, with all banks offering the same service and products. So I come to Commonwealth Bank, they're giving me a loan for a consumer loan, and the rate is 12%. I go to Fidelity, 12 to or 15%. Some banks up to 18, even though with the competition with, and like we talked about it before, with competition with like these little private entities like Easy Pay, Easy Car, or Auto H&L, Greenleaf, and like we say, Greenleaf interest rates out the door, and like Ms. DeVoe explained to us, they're not really regulated as they're private entities, people private money, so at your own risk lend the money to person. So I guess for them having taken the risk, they actually charging that big interest rate, because if I take in the risk, ain't sure. But a lot of them still get government salary deduction or get salary deduction, even though they take in the risk, they still get deductions from it. So, but I guess a lot of people go to Greenleaf because I guess they can get the loan easy too. But I'm not going to pay 25% or 22% or 21% just to get a loan. And then by the time they then take out all those different fees, like because you have administration fees, you have government stamp tax fees, you have all these different fees. And then a lot of times when customers go to the banks or these private entities, they already have a loan. So they just topping up. And when they top up, they still have to pay them administration fees. And I don't think a lot of times, well, we know even when the officers even tell customers, well, this is what it is. They look at the officer and say, well, hey, I pay in this loan, not you. So, you know, a lot of times we feel that loan officers don't tell clients, but they do. But clients say to them that this is me, I want it. So I understand what you're saying, but I need the loan. So, and especially now, this time with the summer situation, you know, a lot of persons just go into the bank and borrowing, and they really don't care until that first payment is due. Then everybody wondering, how am I going to do it? But that is what it is. But competition is one of the biggest competition and concentration. Competition is really a big thing around the world because everybody is fighting for profit. Everybody wants to make profit. I think I don't think we have no competition in the post office savings bank here in the Bahamas because the post office savings bank mostly, I guess, we see it on the family islands, and as we know, there's no kind of controls or anything in place when it comes to that. I guess anybody take the deposit, put it in the book if you choose. I don't even imagine how they really dealing with the post office savings in the islands because they've had so much fraud and mismanagement. So I don't even know. When the auditor general, I think, was doing them, he realized there was a lot of deficiency, no controls in place. So, yeah. So the Bahamas Development Bank, is there another bank in our country that caters to customers like the Bahamas Development Bank?
No,
Pardon me?
no, ma'am, I don't think so.
Right, because because with the development bank, the development bank, or they cater to persons who want to buy a boat. I mean, some banks allow people, lend people money to buy boats, like you get people getting consumer loans, because I remember a guy getting a consumer loan at the bank, and he just had to come up with a certain amount, but he purchased a boat. He did purchase a boat, but he had a salary deduction. I'm not sure if the Bahamas Development Bank have salary deduction also. I'm not sure, but I know they were really. I don't know if they're back up running like how they used to be back in the earlier days, but I know they suffered a great loss. They had a lot of delinquent loans because people just businesses. They started out a business, it didn't work out, and they still had the loan. Some people started farming. Some people just bought a boat for fishing. A lot of things, and it just didn't plan out. So I'm not sure if they're back on track or they're still, have a lot of loans that they have to do refinancing or reconstructing new loans for that persons. I'm not sure. But I know the development bank caters a lot to farmers, fishermen, persons who want to start a business. So like that. I don't know what their rates are, but
Well, it's nice
there's,
because I seminar
pardon me?
I went to seminar last year with them, and their biggest thing was they wanted to lend, but they really wanted like Bahamian products or like
Yeah.
Bahamian manufacturers. They were really they're really big on that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Um, as we can see, we know this chapter is talking about regulations, geography, and history will affect the environment within which retail banking operates. It talks about the different bank in the UK, in the US, in Germany, in Singapore, in China, in United Overseas Bank. They're talking about the different banks in these different countries. And it also went on to say traditional customers would bank locally, visiting their local branches to transact business. But the development of technology means that the geography is no longer such a limiting factor. Because, like I'm in Canada and I'm teaching from here, and that's because of technology. So with technology, you can do so many things. Like I say, we know before you had to go into the banks and do transactions, and now if I wanted to put money on your account, I probably had to go to your bank and do it. But now a lot of banks don't even allow you to do that anymore because it's online banking. So I can easily transfer the money from my bank at RBC, Scotia, wherever, and I can transfer it to your bank as long as I have all the information, your branch code, your transit number, your branch where you're at, your savings account number, and I'm good to go, And like I say before, we know these transfers between banks, I think they have 3 different cutoffs, 11 or 11:32 or 2:30 and 4:30. And once you get it in with it, that time is left from my bank, I transfer it to your bank. It'll get there within that day. But it's no longer that, it's no more monopoly. Like I said before, I remember when Finco was totally monopoly for loans. Now, as we look at, we see that the competition is there. We have insurance companies, we have private companies, we have all commercial banks giving loans, more savings, more loans than before, consumer mortgages. At one point, you only had some banks giving just consumer loans, like a Commonwealth, like a Fidelity. But now everybody is into the mortgage part of it too. So everybody is giving a mortgage loan. And like I say, even the insurance company, the credit union, everybody is involved now. So competition is kind of stiff out there with all the banks. And like we talk about BPL has the monopoly. BTC don't, they used to, they don't anymore. We have a Cable Bahamas, Arab. So, you know, they have competition. In Freeport, is there competition for BPL and, well, it's not BPL, but is there competition in Freeport?
For Power and Light, I don't think so.
No,
There's-
no
No,
competition.
there's no,
No.
no. Yeah, they need to have something where there's a competition with BPL. Because Lord, I even ain't been home, and when I see my light bill, I be like, Lord, they must give me somebody says I saw something, somebody was saying they must get the airport bill. Yeah, so on their status, I'm like, whoa, and that is so true. I was in there, and when I saw my bill, I was like, but I was in there when I bill all of this. Yeah, I was in there because if I was there, I wouldn't have mind because I turned my AC on because I can't be hot. So, but I was in there, and my bill is still so high. Yeah. Competition and concentration. One of the biggest drivers of competition in any market is the number of firms operating in the market. In 2010, the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, found that market concentration measures taken in the aftermath, here again, we're talking about the global crisis in 2007, 2008. That is the step taken by a few large banks to increase their market shares and therefore dominating the market may have had an impact on competition. As part of its deliberation, the OECD estimated market concentration in several territories, some of them resulting, if you look at the data below. The United States, there is clear evidence that regulations have effectively prevented similar mergers and acquisitions. M&A activities among banks. US banks historically have been licensed by the same state and prevented from operating outside licensed areas. This regulation in the beginning is beginning to relax, but concentration in the US market is still at a relatively low level when comparing with that in many other developing countries. Yes, because do we have any banks that bears the name from the US back in our country? Like a commercial bank, a retail bank, anything that is designated US?
No,
I don't think
No, I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so. Mhm.
No, everything says Canadian. Yeah, majority of them are Canadian bank. I'm not sure about the offshore, but I know with the retail banking, everything is Canadian. Well, we know with the brokerage firms, investment companies, they invest in the US stock markets and stuff. But I don't think we have any US banks like that. And that's why this is saying to us that other countries may do it, but it's not happening with the US. In Finland, as much as Sanovia, the market is dominated by Norden, emerging as a result of Swedish banking crisis. Now here we see Swedish had a banking crisis in 1991. And because of that, the banks were privatized and begins a series of mergers across Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Finland, permitting to do so by competition authorities who fear a repeat of the banking crisis that has disseminated the smaller banks. So we know in most countries, even in our country, we know that we had a lot of bank mergers. First, we used to have a Barclays Bank. Who took over Barclays? Who bought Barclays? Who is now, who is named, which bank is really came from Barclays?
First Caribbean.
Yeah, because there was a Barclays Bank, everybody worked there, Barclays Bank, and then we have I mean, like in Canada, Bank of Montreal is still there, but then we had a bank at the Bahamas, so the banks have mergers. We have insurance companies that have mergers. A lot of companies just merging because the market is so thin and everybody fighting for the same thing. Everybody fighting for the same customer. Everybody fighting for the same customer. We're offering the same products and services. So a lot of banks just merge. So they make their portfolio bigger because they're going to merge with a little company or a company that is giving them competition. So they merge with them, and at the end of the day, their profit margin grows. If we look down below at the actual chart that they talk about, the average market shares of 4 largest banks, 2000 to 2007, you'll see that they go from Luxembourg, the United States, Japan, UK, Australia, Switzerland, Finland, all of those. Finland seemed to be the highest. Then they also come down and you'll see interchange fees for plastic cards. We know what is the average percentage on any plastic card. Persons like a Commonwealth card, Scotiabank, or RBC. I don't think BOB have a card, but I'm sure they have a debit card, which they also charge fees, I guess. So what is the percentage fees charged on a credit card or any card, a debit card at a Commonwealth or a Scotia? Anyone?
Ashley messaged in chat that at Scotia it's 19%.
19? Gee, Scotia is 19% on their credit card. So we know that further we'll see in chapter 9, which we'll talk about the payment system, which deals with the plastic cards. So we'll see furthermore, we'll talk about that in chapter 9. But we know everybody needs a card. So we get a card, we don't pay attention that at the end of every month, we're getting this. I don't think we look at the finance charge to know that the more we allow our card to not to pay off the balance, the further the service, the finance charges. I am guilty for that. And as I'm saying, I have to try to just pay it off and try to do that every month. But yes, the credit cards, the fees are hefty. We have the debit cards, so you also get fees on that. Every time you go to the machine, you have to pay a government stamp tax, you got to pay VAT. All these things now come when you use your card. Then we'll see in case 6.2, it talks about the reaching LIBOR, the LIBOR rate that we talked about before. And you would see when they talk about the ICE at the specific time and day, the ICE calculation, an average rate based on the predetermined mechanism, and publish this as LIBOR for every day. Most banks do that. I know Scotia, RBC, I don't think like a Commonwealth, I'm not sure. I know Fidelity don't, but I know these other banks like a Scotia, a First Caribbean, RBC, because they deal with a lot of international customers. So you'd see the LIBOR rate when you go in, you'd see some banks, they should have it up. I know they used to have it up before. So the two examples illustrates the illegal collusion and price fixings are possible where certain market condition exists. And we talked about that before when I talked about in the UK where the guys rigged the rates, the LIBOR rate, and because of that, a lot of people was able to qualify for a mortgage. And then at the end of the day, when it was found out, a lot of people lost their homes because they could not afford to pay the mortgage payment because of the rate being, rigged, the LIBOR rate being rigged, which determined the interest rate. So a lot of persons lose their homes, lose their savings, everything they actually worked hard for. Banks can effectively keep new entrants out of the industry or market, the product or service offered in the economic necessary goods, that is a good for which consumers has a high demand. What is a good that human have high demand for? What is a good that human have high demand for? Around the world, what is the good that consumers have a high demand for? Helen with me today?
Items, groceries, for water,
Pardon me?
food items,
Yes, food.
Oil, fuel,
Water.
gas.
Mhm,
Mm.
mhm.
Water.
And we know, what is the gas price now back home?
5,
5, 7,
6, 560
7.
something. 7.
Okay, it's still in the 5, okay. Yeah. I thought it was 6 now. Okay, still in the 5. And well, who's gonna who's making a lot of money now in this rainy weather? Who you think is making a lot of money? Who? The competition now with this weather, who's making the money?
Sand people.
The mechanic, the tow truck, because a lot of people cars are being stuck somewhere. So we know the tow trucks, the mechanics, they're making money. And we know before you might have been able to see one little tow truck or one little mechanic shop on the side there, but now the competition out there is really, really rough. So right now, a lot of wreckers are gonna take the opportunity to make some money because a lot of people cars getting stuck on the side of the road. I just hope when I reach back that, well, I guess because we complained so much about how hot it was, God said, okay, I'm going to give y'all some rain. So now we have too much rain that cool down the earth. So that's another problem. Then we have in case study 6.3, why are different bank home mortgage rates so similar? Well, listening to Ms. Pierce, their rate is kind of really low. It's Commonwealth here, is BOB here. I have to get used to knowing who all here to ask, but the rates, the mortgage rates I know, like Ms. Pierce said, Ms. Price said at Scotia was 4 point something, which is relatively low. I know at one point RBC was 4 point something. I don't know what they are today, but and then First Caribbean usually when they run a competition, their rates are low. So a campaign rather, their rates are low. So if we look at some of the rates here, look on any price comparison website in the UK, you see down here, they have a term rate. Yorkshire Building Society, this is in England mortgage, you see a 1.93, yeah, I don't think we'd ever see that here. A Skipton Building Society 1.9, a cooperative bank 1.89. So HBSC, the rates are very low. Then we come to the scope of competition. Ms. Russell, can you help me with that?
To analyze the way in which competition affects the markets in which retail banks operate, we can use the five forces model devised by Michael Porter of Harvard Business School. Porter's model combines a number of microeconomic and strategic ideas, and its strength lies in its basis on observations of actual behavior. Figure 6.2 summarizes the basic model, which considers a market, not an individual bank, and the five forces that can influence the type of competition faced by incumbent operators. At this point, we must recognize that retail banks operate within a number of different markets, each of which has different features and different competitors. Although these are detailed later in the book, it is necessary at this stage to focus on examples of markets such as consumer credit, payments, small or medium-sized enterprise, SME, accounts, and lending and insurance.
Okay, if we look here, we see what they're talking about. You have power of suppliers, power of new entrants, power industry, rivalry, power of buyers, threats of substitutes. So every day new entrants come into the market, whether it be a clothing shop, whether it be a bar, a liquor store, always there's competition. And as we know back home, competition in food stores, groceries, you'd have a mom and pop, there's competition. So like how we used to have a mom and pop years ago when everybody go there. Now we have these big mega food stores, and the mom and pop can't compete with them because mom and pop can have them little prices with little hefty because it in a little area where people could go, and when they don't have to walk too far to go to the to the big stores like a Super Value, quality food store or a Solomon's or a Cartwright. So they still goes to the little mom and pop shop, but it's not as a big thing as it used to be years ago. So even in those food stores like a Super Value and a Solomon's, we talked about it before, the competition is there. So if you look at the newspaper every Wednesday and Thursday relating to a Super Value and Solomon's, they're the two I'm going to talk about, you'll see that if you look at Super Value, they have the same products that the Solomon is selling, but you'll see there'd be like a little margin, a little less than a Solomon's, and you'll see some items at Solomon's being a less than Super Value, but most of the time they have the same things on sale. The same items they have on sale for the week special, they're special. And like I say, with Super Value, their competitive edge is they offer you the quality stamp, which you could come and you could fill out those little cards. And after you fill the cards, each card only worth $1. Mind you, you spend so much money, but each card worth $1. So a lot of persons just save them up, and some people save them up till Christmas, or some people save them up until back to school. But that's their competitive edge by offering their customers quality stamps, and on a Sunday you get double stamps. So you'd find out that a lot of persons go to the shop Super Value just to get that double stamp. And then you have a Solomon who have the new card now, so you get discounts on the card. Whatever you purchase, there's a certain amount coming off your bill because you have the AML. I don't remember what the reward card, I think they call it. So that's their competitive edge by offering their customers that service. By once you sign up for the reward card, when you go in the shop, these are the things you could get. They even have a little section in their flyer where you can get these things at a more discount rate when you use the little reward card. So they all, competition is all over. Then sometimes you'd see with the liquor store, 700 wines, even the Chinese involved. Now everybody's selling liquor, so you'd see where everybody have a discount. They're selling the same products, but the prices is being competitive. Okay, he's selling that for 10, I can sell it for 9. And also we sell treat collect for $6 over there, selling 3 collect for 5. So it's a competitive market, whether in any products being offered, there's a competitive market. Like I say, food is a competitive market. Liquor is a competitive. Clothing, competitive. Fruits and vegetables, competitive. Even when you go to the farmer's market, you go to the farmer's market.
In a while.
Because even at the farmer's market, you'd have, they'd go to the food store and purchase the onion, purchase the sweet potato, purchase all of them, or the broccoli. And then they come to the farmer's market and sell them so much. I'm like, but did you buy this from the food store? And the farmer's market is supposed to be things that they actually grow. But they go to the food store and they purchase those stuff, and then some of them come to the farmer's market and they sell it to us for more. So even there at the farmer's market, you have competition. A lot of persons grow their fruits and vegetables, and then some people just, they buy them from the family islands and, mangoes, they come down and they go to the products exchange. That's the one on East Bay Street. So, but the competition is there, and most products and services offered by different businesses, competition is there. You have a retail store that sells parts. Competition is there. Like I say, you cannot do anything. Say you start a business and say, "Oh, I can monopolize this business." No, you can't, because everybody starting in the business. So you have to always be on top of your game by learning how to invent new things, learning how to bring things, market your products. And that's one of the things that a lot of Bahamian people don't do, market. You have to market your product, because a lot of times you may offer the products and services, but because people don't know, because you don't market it, so you lose. So the persons who are out there, or the businesses that are out there marketing their product, make it just like AC, air condition, and especially in the hot times that we're in, some people market it and then some people don't. So if you're not a person searching around or calling around, you'll never know that this price is lower than that, because people don't market. We have like a Cool Tech on Blue Hill Road, Howard Road. They market, so that you'd see it in the newspaper sometimes. So they market stuff. So they market their AC, so you're able to compare. They have it for $4. This other place have it for $5 something. So it's all about marketing your product and services that you offer. And once you're able to do that, you really could do good. But if you're not marketing your products and service, what you're selling, and people don't know, the persons who actually doing it, even though their prices may be more than yours, but people don't know what you're selling. So the persons who prices are more than yours, they get the business, you don't. Even with cars, if you choose to say, and we full of right-hand drive cars. So even so, a lot of people bring their cars in. So even when you go to the lot, some people just, I see this guy want it, or they just go and purchase it. But if they search around, they'll be able to see that, hey, I could get it for a better deal. And then a lot of people order their car offline too. And to me, I think that's taking a more risk. So for me, I prefer to go to the car lot, buy your car, or say, okay, I'm interested in this car, but before I purchase this car, you have to take this car to my mechanic, and my mechanic have to give me the go ahead to say, it's okay to purchase that car. But a lot of people don't do that. Before they check the competition, they just purchase the car from that person. Don't go to the mechanic and get it actually test out. Do any of you do that? When if you purchase the car, if it's a second-hand car, do you ensure that the mechanic first look at it before you decide to buy it?
Yeah.
Yes, Mom.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't. And if you don't test the product first, ensure that it's a product worthy to purchase, what happens? Later, you didn't go take the car, get it checked out by the mechanic, do a test on it to say for him to say, okay, it's okay to purchase this car. So at the end of the day, you don't do that. And then, as I say, to me, it's so risky just ordering a car offline, because when the car reaches to you, what are you going to do? If it has an oil leak or this is wrong, I prefer to go check out the competition, go to this one, go to that one, and compare the price. But a lot of people don't do that. Then we have the bargaining power of suppliers. Ms. DeVoe, can you read that for me, please?
Sure, 1 minute.
Okay.
The bargaining power of buyers. Customers are an important ingredient in competition, and they can influence the retail bank if they have bargaining power. That is, if they are sufficiently concentrated on, or are buying a significant volume, that it has an impact if they favor one competitor over another. The better the information about rivalry in the market, the lower the cost of switching from one seller to another. The more ready a buyer can be to transfer their alliance. Individual customers have little bargaining power, however, and are often reluctant to switch to another bank, because this could have a negative impact on regular payment and on a credit score. In the UK, a guaranteed switching service came into operations in 2013 to try to alleviate those anxieties and allow customers more freedom of choice. Price comparison websites are another tool that gives some power to buyers, because they provide more information about specific products and services that most customers can obtain on their own. Mobile phone applications that link all of the individual banks' accounts with different providers in one place are also tools that could give buyers more power. Threats for new entrants. Some financial
Okay,
services.
okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, when they talk about the bargaining power, another thing with the bargaining power, with people switching from one bank to the next bank. I know some banks that say switch, you don't have to pay administration fees, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. And a lot of people, some people actually do switch, because then they say, okay, you don't have to worry about the legal fees. And we know legal fees are very high. We know government stamp tax, we know all these stuff is very, very high. So some people, and then they say, okay, if you switch, you don't got to pay no mortgage for 3 months. So, some people just switch. But there's another factor when it comes to customers and banks, because, okay, you're a customer, you have, say, $300,000 that you want to open a fixed deposit with. You want to take to that bank. But that bank says to you, oh, I can only pay you this amount of interest. And because you're a customer of that bank, you say, well, okay, yeah, this or we never bargain. Do we bargain? No. Oh, that's all y'all could pay. Okay. No. And that's the thing about it. Even with a mortgage loan, a lot of times people don't try to use their bargaining power. I'm the customer. You need my loan. Because like I say, it's very competitive back in our country, because everybody fighting for the same customer. So if I go to a bank and I want a loan, or say I go to the bank and I want to put up money on a fixed deposit, 300,000, the bank says to me, I can only give you 2%. But okay, you're going to give me 2%, but you're going to lend my money out for 18%, but you can only give me 2%. And because a lot of times a lot of customers are not, I guess, they don't have the actual knowledge to know stuff. So the banks use that to their advantages. So if you go to a bank and you have that kind of money, you bargain, you go to the table and you say, well, this is what I want, because you've already not just go to one bank, you test out 2 other banks and you say, what would you give me if I wanted to put up 300,000 on a fixed deposit for 2 years? And you go to another bank and you do a comparison. We don't do that. And persons who really have money, you can't get them go to the bank and the bank tell them one story. They're telling you, if you want my money, this is what I want. And yes, sometimes branch managers, they don't have the ability or they don't have the authority to approve a certain interest rate for customers. So you automatically, you don't have the authority. Yeah, so your boss have it. So go up. This is what I want. So we would call that preferred interest rate. So to get a preferred interest rate, a lot of times managers of a branch has to go to higher, like the big executive, the chief executive officer who runs the bank, or the president, to say, I have Joe Doe, but he has 300,000. He wants to put on for 2 years, and you holding his money for whole 2 years, 2 years, and he wants. We're actually only willing to pay him 2.5, but he wants 4% or 3.5. The executive office, chief executive officer, or the president has the authority to say, okay, I will offer a preferred rate. And when they do that, they have to also follow it up by an email. So when checks and balances come into play, or when the auditors come in, you have some documentation to say, because they're going to scan through and they're going to look and say, okay, why does this customer have this rate when this is the rate? Looking at the schedule, this is the rate for this amount. So that's why it's always that a backup plan is there. So you say, okay, yes, he got a preferred rate, he got an approval. So I's dot, T's crossed to show that, yes, it's not an error. It wasn't a preferred rate authorized by the president or the chief executive officer. But like I say here again, we don't bargain, because we just go to one place and we say, okay, that's the one you can offer. No, I went to Scotia and they say this is what they'd give me. I went to Royal Bank, this is what they say they can give me. I have my money with y'all, but I want to see, I give you all the opportunity first to see what y'all will give me. And this is what I want, and this is what they will give me. So what will you do for me? But we don't do that. We don't bargain. We do not bargain. Just like when we, like with suppliers, they bargain. You think they just go to one company to say, okay, I need meat, I need products. No, they bargain also. They call around shops, they call around to see who's offering the best prices. And so that's what I'm saying. We have to be able to bargain to be able to get the rate that we want, because the competition is stiff out there. So if you want my money, you have to pay me or come close to what I'm willing to accept. Do any of you do that? Or you just go and when they say, oh, this is what your rate could be, you said, okay. Do any of you bargain to say, if you go to get a consumer loan, a loan, or put money up, do any of you ever bargain, or you go to a shop that say, oh, this would be selling it for, but you ever go and say, yeah, well, this is what I want to pay. Do any of you ever do that? Hello?
No, I've never done that before.
Have you ever been in the store market?
Yeah, I have, but I just paid the price.
You never say, oh, how much you want? 20? I have 18.
No, mom.
You don't think the tourists do that?
Maybe, but I say it as I can't I can't tell you what to set your price as. So whatever your price is your price, and I'm gonna pay. That's the type of person I am.
Okay,
That's how I look at
okay,
things.
what happens when you go in the straw market? You have like 10 people coming at you one time. Oh, I'll give this to you for 10. Next person, I'll give it to you for 8. Oh,
I've
I can't give
never
you.
encountered it like that. So I can't speak to that experience.
But it happens because in the straw market, you know, it's a competition.
Yes, ma'am.
So in that competition, everybody selling the same product, but the person who wants the low ball gets actual the sale. Because you know the tourists come, you think they looking at you, they saying, oh, how much you want for this? And you be like, oh, I'm selling that for 20, but I'll give it to you for 16. Off the top, he looking at you first, asking you. He see you don't tell him it's 20. He can say, what's the lowest you're gonna go? He's bargaining with you. He's bargaining to say, you want that, but I got the money. You got the product. But if I give you 15, would you take it? Some people I've known, some people would simply say, someone was telling me they went to the straw market and the lady say, I usually sell it for $25, but I'll give it to you for 20. So the person said, they said to them, what about 18? So you see, the customer has the money. So it's a bargaining power. The cash is the bargaining power. Even though you have the products, I still could bargain to say, I'm not paying that, you know. And that's the same way in banks. But like I say, we'll get a credit card from a bank when another bank can offer you a better rate, but we don't do our due diligence by doing comparison with 2 or 3 banks. Just like when you get a mortgage, what does they say when you go to a bank for a mortgage? What do you have to do, Miss Price? What does a customer have to do when they go to a bank to get a mortgage? Isn't there some stuff they have to do to actually, when they go to the bank? Okay, let's say they have to get an estimate. How much estimates they have to get to say, well, to come into line with the appraisal value of whether you're constructing a building or whether you're building a house. How many estimates they have to usually get? Or Miss Price, you're not on yet. Okay. Pardon me?
Only one.
How come? I know before, you had to get at least 3 estimates, and doesn't it have to be in line with the appraisal value, with the appraisal is saying it costs to build a building or this with the house value?
Yeah, it has to be similar with what the quantity surveyor says it's gonna cost to build.
Right, that's the appraiser. Yeah, okay. And so I know back in the days, you had to carry at least 3 estimates to say, this is the closer person to what the appraiser is saying, because you know, get some people their prices are out the ball field, because they'll be like, unless somebody who, if say you really want that person to build your house, so you say, okay, that's what the appraisal said is, you have to come as close as this figure to be able to get the contract. And you know, the bank is gonna look at what the appraiser say. If he say it costs $500,000 to build this house, and then this person coming along, but oh, $300,000, would you all take that, Miss Price? If the appraiser says 500 and somebody say their contractor could bill it for 300,000, would you all accept that?
No, it has to be, it could be a difference, but not $200,000 difference.
Right, because then you'll have person saying, well, oh, that's my daddy and that's what he could bill it for. No, I don't, you know, banks will look at that and say, fine, that's your father, he'll bill it for that, but that that is such a vast discrepancy. So I don't see how with building materials gone up, everything gone up. So how would he be able to bill it for that? And even when somebody purchases a repossessed house or and repairs has to be done, the appraiser has to go evaluate it. This is what's going to cost for repairs. So it's like you have to be in that competition where to win that bid, you have to be as close to the appraisal value as possible to be able to get that contract. Okay. Oh, can somebody volunteer to read? Because Mr. Vo just finished. Somebody else volunteer to read for me, please.
First from new entrants.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Some financial services markets are easier to enter as a result of their low capital requirements and lower skills needs, while others are protected because large firms dominate, meaning that existing banks have cost and branding advantages. Additional barriers can include the cost of regulation and of high dependence on technology. Markets that are easy to enter are likely to be more competitive, while others can be more monopolistic. Monopolistic. Retail banking markets, such as payment markets, can be threatened by new entrants who specialize in one aspect of the business, as the next illustration demonstrates.
Right, and we know with this, like I say in chapter 9, I know talk about the payment system. So as we know, and with nowadays, we have even the taxi drivers have the little machine now to be able to pay by a card, right? Well, I know around the world we have that technology back home, right? In the Bahamas, where taxi drivers now can take payments by card. And so now you have all banks seem to now introduce that merchant payment system where persons are taking their businesses to different banks. Like, okay, I'll open up my savings, my account with you all, and I get the merchant machine. And so I'm able to use that to with my customers. And especially now, tourists visit our country and majority of them have their card. Most tourists, or even Bahamians, we don't travel with cash like that because, when you lost the cash, you lost. Even with the cards, people, we travel with the cards, and even though some people still is not yet accepting cards, you'll see some people say, no, we don't accept cards. A lot of people is now straight to doing the online banking. So they say to you, you'd see the sign stick up and say, we don't accept checks, we don't accept credit card, but this is our online banking information that you can make the payment to, and then we will deliver the service to you. Like a lumber company, they would say, I know of a lumber company, when you go in, they have it up and say, this is our online banking information. Once you've paid the funds into their account, then they'll deliver the stuff for you. So we have that. Yeah. So that's one of the things that relates to payment. And payment system, like I say, it's much easier to pay online, pay by a card, pay by money transfer. You could even go to Island Luck now and put money in somebody's account. So it's like a competition out there is very, 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 very high, very, very, very high. And I know like some cards with the payment system, some cards have a SIM where it alerts you. Does Scotiabank have that? It alerts you if something is being done on your card.
Yes, it'll alert you.
Pardon me? I didn't hear you, Ms. Price.
Yes, ma'am. It'll alert you. You just have to set it up on your online banking.
Oh, okay, all right. All right, Ms. Minus, you could continue for me, please.
Okay. You want me to read the case study? Oh,
No,
okay.
y'all can look at that.
Okay, threats from substitutes, where consumers can find alternatives to the output of a particular market. They may use the alternatives where the relative price performance is better and the costs of switching are lower. For a provider of retail banking services, the strength of this threat is diminished by the very advantages and that financial intermediation brings. In chapter 2, however, we saw that the threat is not wholly eliminated with peer-to-peer, P2P, lending sites, internet-only banks, non-bank payment services, all playing a part. Often it is the availability of technology that allows such disruption. Thus, a retail bank must compete not only with other banks, but also with consumers deciding not to use banks at all.
Okay, and like we see, that's what's happening when we talk about they don't have to use banks because I could go to Omni and send money. I could go to Cash and Go and send money. I could even the church have savings account. Any of you know that? The church has savings account too. They have their little business going on too. Any of you know that? So they have a savings account where you put your money up and you get interest on it too. So the competition out there is really is not just to the banks. The banks, or we have no, the banks don't have monopoly anymore. Because like I say, we have an island left where people have to compliance. They have to comply or their accounts get closed out. Same thing. So I was reading an article about a bank where customers' accounts just get closed. The Scotia or Commonwealth does that, close your account without notifying you. Mr. Price? I know you work in operation.
No, we always notify our customers. Yeah, we always notify our customers. Minimum, we give them about 30 days to comply with whatever and close the account.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the account is usually closed because of what? The account is closed because, like with checking accounts, we have some people who operate them like every day they have a return check. Every day there's a return check. So if you have a customer who operates their checking account not as the bank, as the agreement they sign, would you close that checking account because every day it's a non-sufficient funds? Who else work in the bank? I have to get to know which one of y'all work in the bank. Minus, where do you work?
I work at Deltec Bank.
Okay, that's different. I saw an article about y'all. What's that all about?
I am not at liberty to speak.
I know. I know. Yeah, because like somebody was saying to me, what they were saying, but inside trading, something to do with, oh God, that was something I was reading up on. Would I write the man name down? And he inside trading, like I talked to you about that before with another bank, but inside trading is prohibited, but people still do it. They were talking about somebody who right in Bahamas just recently was in the news. Well, I could talk about it. What his name is, Joe Lewis, Albany, because it was in the newspaper talking about it yesterday, inside trading. Yeah. But like I say, in today's banking, the technology has, like I say, just overtaken everything. So, and with technology comes risk. So we take risks because, okay, we go in the airport, they tell you it's unsecured, but we right there opening, putting information in, transferring money from one account to the next, and we got people right there monitoring us and could just snatch our information and you look at your account, no dollars is there. People do it. Just like when you go to the ATM, I don't know, like people have this thing that they put in and they could get all your card information. Then we go to the restaurant and we trust the person to come from the table with our card. They could copy every information from that card and order stuff. Because you know, like Amazon don't ask you for no CVV code on the back of it. They don't ask you. The transactions just go through. So here again, like I say, technology is good, but with comes technology comes a lot of risks. And I talked about it before. If you want to make more money, you invest in more risky investment. If you're a prudent person like me, you're not going to. You're going to get less interest because you're not going to invest in a risky market. So here again, same thing with technology, new technology coming into play. With technology come risks, and that's what's happening with us. Okay. I just need somebody to read. Next class is going to be very interesting. Well, the exam is on that Saturday, but we have a class on that Thursday. Oh, and for persons who were not here when we first signed on, the midterm exam will be on that Saturday, on the 5th of August at 10 a.m. And I was told by Ms. Dean that no longer they have exams online. I guess certain situations happen. So now all exams, midterm exams are taken, final exams are taken at this. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that. So your exam is next week, Saturday, the 5th of August at 10 a.m. at BIF. I think Ms. Dean will be invigilating it because like I told you before, I don't come to an exam because usually when I first started teaching everybody, Miss Smith, what they're saying, what that's saying. Yeah, so I don't come. So Miss Dean will be invigilating it. And what I do, I'll just go and pick up the papers from her and mark them. So you all take it that Saturday, and maybe I may go there that Saturday and just pick up the papers to mark it. So when you meet me on that Monday, or before that Sunday or that Monday, I'll send the grades to y'all so y'all will know exactly. With the assignment that was sent to me yesterday and Tuesday, I'm going to ensure that they all marked for you by tomorrow, Saturday, the latest, that y'all have them. And like I said, I'm thinking about whether I'm going to give you a review schedule sheet with questions. Like I said before I would, when it was not a summer session, I would give them like 250 questions for them to study from, and usually just 100 questions would come from it. But this is a shorter session, so I won't give that amount. But if I choose to give you a review sheet, it will be more than 100 questions. And even though only 100 questions will come, so I will still be, letting you know these. You don't know which one is going to come, but, a lot of people do well. Some people don't. So I will decide by now on Monday Monday I won't have a class, but I will decide by now and Monday to let you know or send it off to you, the review sheets, okay? But like I say, don't forget, exam is next week, Saturday, midterm. Remember the grading schedule of 65 and 64 and below is a fail. 65 to 79 is a C. 80 to 89 is a B, and 90 to 100 is a A. And as you know, the assignments are valued at 20%. But I say I given y'all 15 because y'all, I have to be try like pulling tooth to get y'all to participate. And so I guess all of y'all want miss that mark, we getting a 5%. It's like we agreed, and I pray and hope that the next class, which deals totally with different products and services, and I'm going to send you all chapter 7 because I think I break it down better. You can still look at the book, but the book that I have, I think I made it in a easier version for you to understand for chapter 7. Like I said, I didn't do chapter 6 because it was like almost on the same par with what we're going over right now. Okay, but I asked somebody to read, please.
I'll read the night.
Okay.
The final force rivalry among existing competitors focus on the type of competition that the market generates. Based on cost or on products differentiations, it will also be influenced by the numbers of market participating, the growth in the market, and the level of cost getting out of the market if profits fail. Where competitive relies on low price, as seems to be the case with home insurance. For example, a firm must be able to sustain these via low costs and efficiencies. The larger firms with greater financial reserves on keep prices low until rivalries have left the market. This future suggests that retail banks around the world consider there to be strong rivalry within their markets. The levels of cooperated and market sufficiency, advising, and sponsorship demonstrate that the maintaining strong brand awareness is important. International travelers will be well aware of HSBC advising on air badges in many airports. Football fans will also reconsider the series of sponsors entertaining by teams such as Newcastle United, Virgin Money, and Wonka. Manchester United, and Liverpool Standard Chartered.
Okay. So we see here they're talking about the differentiation between products and how it influenced the market. And I don't know if any of you know about Virgin Money, Wonka, and HSBC. I know years ago there were a lot of issues with HSBC because they closed banks in different, like I know Cayman was one of them, I think was one of the first ones where they closed their banks. Yeah, but that's rivalry. And any businesses, like I say, we have rivalry among existing competitors. In the airline business, we have, how many airlines we have? We have so many competition. And after COVID, a lot of airlines, they had to cancel certain flights because after COVID, a lot of people didn't return to work. So a lot of them short staff. If you say you want to go on an Air Canada and you want to come to Canada, most of the time you could just never get a straight flight. I know for me, I could never get a straight flight from Nassau to Toronto and then come to Prince Edward Island. I always have to lay over. So I always have to get from Nassau to Toronto, and I have to stay an extra night in Toronto. So here again, I'm paying for a plane ticket and I'm paying for a hotel, which I'm going to be in for probably 4 or 5 hours, but you have to pay for it. So and you'll find that most airlines are doing the same thing. They not flying straight, or if you're having a connecting flight, it won't come out until the next day. So rivalry is there in any business. Football teams, rivalry, musician. Look back home. We have persons, everybody, every time you look at somebody putting on something and this band in it, or this, you know, everybody, this DJ doing it. So rivalry is there, and competition is good for any business, and competition makes person know that, hey, you don't have the monopoly, so you either have to put your prices down, or what happens, like I say, you put yourself right out of the market. You have to close down because the market is there, but you want to have these greater prices. So what happens? You blow yourself right out of the market. And like we know with banks, service charges, different charges that the bank charge you is what I think too is a determinant factor where people actually want to save their money there, because you know what it is to have to be saving your money, and at the end of the day, every month you look how much charges. Mr. Price, how much y'all charge on at the end of the month? What y'all service charges, like just for an account? Is there a steady fee that you charge a customer if they're below a certain threshold for savings?
Yeah, we have different sheets that we offer specifically to the savings account. If the balance is under the $500 threshold, then it's $2 service charge plus VAT, and that's on
Okay,
top of the monthly service charge.
Right, because you could pay a monthly service charge. About what amount would you would say ballpark a monthly service charges at the bank?
I'd say about $6-7 average.
And then on top of that, you have to pay government stamp tax, right?
You gotta pay stamp tax on the transactions that you would have completed, plus the VAT.
Gee, what? Government stamp tax, fine charge. If you're the person who have a couple dollars in the bank, by the time you say, okay, boy, I think I need some lunch. Let me go. I should have $20, but forget, hey, you forget all lunch charges got to come out at the end of the month. No lunch money. But guess what? The bank then take out must be $15 or probably $12 off your account. Yes. And I don't think a lot of times people look at all those things. Now that I don't work in the bank anymore, I'm able to see. I'm like, boy, when I used to work in the bank, I used to have to pay all these different fees. But now you actually see what customers complain about, you know. And some banks pay 0.05%, which I'll pay at Scotia.
I believe it's 0.03%, to be honest. In some instances, we don't pay interest on certain accounts.
Whoa. And so this 0.03, that's the term deposit? Y'all just pay money on the term deposit then?
Yeah, we pay interest on the term deposit. I believe it's a little bit higher than
0.08.
Yeah, 0.08.
So is it according to the amount of money you're putting up? Y'all have different categories, right?
Yeah, we have different categories for different amounts.
I can imagine me bringing 100,000, y'all tell me 0.08. I don't think so, right? And that's why you see a lot of persons now go to the investment companies like a Leno, like a RF, like a CFAL, because they can put their money to work. They buy stocks, they buy government bonds, they buy shares, and they get dividends back. They get a certain amount on their mutual funds. So I guess it's better to do an investment, but it's saving in the bank is more liquid because it's like a demand. You could go get your money. But when you save in like a Leno or RF, you can't just get the money just like that. And if you get the money just so that, there's a fee you have to pay. Even though I know in the banks, if you break a fixed deposit, some banks will actually take the interest, charge you a penalty by taking the interest or giving you some of the interest as according to when you open that term deposit. They work it out and say, or some people just open it so the bank say, well, we're not going to give you the interest. You forfeit the interest on the term deposit. And some banks, I guess, charge you a fee too for breaking the term deposit. Okay. I need somebody to continue reading retail bank strategies, please.
Retail bank strategies. Examples and illustrations abound throughout this book of the various strategies that retail banks employ to compete in their various markets. Most critically, it is important to remember that retail banks have a number of stockholders, that is, people and organizations from whom the bank's successful operation is essentially included. Point one, or point. Shareholders who are interested in returns on their investment, consumers who are interested in good service and in choice and convenience, but at low cost, managers and employees who are interested in career progression and pay, as well as job satisfaction and professional standard, and the government, which is interested in a well-functioning banking system as an engine for economic growth and the bastion of economic stability. What binds each stockholder with the next one? With the next is one key matrix: profitability. Profits are a signal of success and stability in the market. They allow a bank to give better returns to the stockholders, to offer better rewards to staff, and potentially to invest in better services to consumers. Retail banking strategies can be considered in a variety of contexts, including long-term and stable profits, the global environment, see Chapter 1. The risk factor inherent in banking, see Chapter 2 and 3. And the regulatory environment, see Chapter 4 and 5. Such strategies can operate at two key levels. The corporate level, that is, the level of the bank itself, or the market level, or the market level. Corporate level strategies include those that focus on branding. Such brand and image awareness are important in retaining customers and in grinding trust. Funding, that is, assets and liability management. Operation efficiency is see Chapter 8 and 9. In relations to deliver system and payments, and also Chapter 10 on lending, which strategies can include the outsourcing of functions, the use of overseas or remote call centers, and the automation of payments. Products and market portfolios. This is decisions regarding on which products or service and markets to focus, and sometimes which to exit. Such banks can capitalize on key skills and expertise only in markets in which those add value and growth at either or both the domestic or international level. Market level strategies include those that focus on products design, which acknowledge both innovation and knowledge of market and competition. competitors, sorry. Pricing, which again acknowledge competition, but also involves controlling margins and risk. Products advertising, corporate sponsorship is focused on branding, for example, but individuals advert can focus on the details of products and make comparison with those of competitors. Delivery dealt with more fully in Chapter 8, and partnership, at which we look in more depth in Chapter 8 and 9. When we consider certain banking system that requires cooperation among banks if they are to work efficiently and effectively.
Okay, so this is the completion of this chapter. And like it said to you that in chapter 8 and chapter 9, chapter 8 deals with, I'm trying to remember, the delivery of the service. Chapter 9 deals with the payment system. Chapter 10 deals with lending. So further on, you will be able to see the different services and products. Well, in chapter 7 talks about the service and products with the different savings account, checking account, investment accounts. So chapter 7 deals with the different accounts. It shows you why people save. People save for college funds, people save for retirement. You know, there's a whole slew of reasons why people save. People save to buy vehicles, people save for just repairs. And some people just save for a rainy day. So chapter 7 really deals with the different products and services a bank offers to customers. But as we see here, as they talk, well, you'll see that they talk about mostly about retaining customers. And we know to retain a customers, you have to offer the right products and services to retain customers, because customers know what they want. Majority of customers know what they want. And if you're not offering the products and services that they want, they're gonna go to someplace else. And so that's why, again, I talk about marketing our goods. Competition is high, so you have to be able to market. That's why you find like a majority, all banks, they have a marketing department which market their products and services offered. They have little campaigns. You see them out our news, or they go to ZNS, but different news media would, they'll just, every time you see someone come on, they'll say, okay, commercial, and you'd have advertisement by a different, either Scotia, Commonwealth, or Fidelity. Then you look in the newspaper, you'll also see that, or sometimes you'll be on Facebook and you'd see little clippings or advertisements. So here again, to be able to be in the competitive market, or to be able to actually sell your goods and services, you have to actually market them. And like I say here again, your service and your charges, all of that, customers don't have to. Customers have the bargaining power that they don't have to come to a certain bank just to say, oh, no, I can choose what I want to do. So customers, that's why you'll always hear the saying in the banking or in businesses, customer is always right. And we know a lot of times customer is not always right, but because the customer comes in, they pay our salary, shareholders get our profit, because if we don't make no business, you can't work. So a lot of times I go into a business and you don't want to serve me, I say to you straight, if I don't come in here, you don't make no salary. Because you get some people, sometimes you go, they just nonchalant, just like, oh, what you want, you come here. And here again, that's something that we as Bahamians, a lot of Bahamians have to work on with customer service, because it's just not there. And like I say, you could go to a bank and they can give you the biggest interest, or go to a business and their prices is a little lower than the other company, but the service is deplorable. So guess what? I'm going to the place where the price may be a little $5 or $10 more than yours, but I feel appreciated. And as I say, when it comes to competition, You have to make customers feel appreciated. Okay, so we come to the end of the chapter. Any questions, any concerns, anything you want to highlight about this chapter? Anything you want to discuss? Hello?
Hi, Ms. Smith. I have a question in regards to the homework. Will we have another assignment this weekend?
Yes, ma'am. I'll make sure you have it tomorrow. That's the only way you're gonna know how the exam looking. That's like everything I give you will be on the midterm. So I try to make it easier for
Thank
y'all
you.
instead of scanning through the
Good
book and
night,
say, oh,
Ms.
let me
Smith.
just give them. Good night.
For the midterm exam, is only true and false and multiple choice? Any
Yes,
short
ma'am.
answer? Okay, thank you.
No, ma'am. No short answers. Like I said before, when I first started teaching, I used to be thought I was being the hero. Or 3 essay, 20 persons, like how just this little bit, I used to have like 20 persons in my class, okay? And you can imagine me marking essay for 3 essay, short answer questions for 20 people. Yeah, then I have to read so much gibberish. I know one student, I asked a question. I think the girl talked about how she went to the mall shopping, and I was like, what is this? So from that, I don't give, because people just run on and run on and run on. So my thing is, if I give you, like I say, if you look at external exams, a majority of them are multiple choice. So you'd have 125 multiple choice external exams. And that's why you know when a person actually reads and understand what they were reading, because at the end of the day, they have to answer that question and you have 4 answers. You have to pick the one that best, you feel best suit the question. So, hey, I know you had to read, you had to put some insight into it to be able to answer my question. Any other questions for the exam? Any questions about the assignment? Because you'd see like anything you got wrong in the assignment, I would put it there and say which question was wrong so you're able to go back to it. And, you know, see, especially the true and false, whether if I say you answered something true and I say to you, oh, that was wrong. You question 12, you was the wrong answer. Yeah. So I make it easier for you all. Like I say, I know I worked and went to school. So I know it's not easy working, going to school and having a family. It's, you know, but I'm going to say, please, next class, I really want participation. I want to be able to say that I didn't have to read. I didn't need to select people, ask people to read. Like I say, the next chapter is I think it's a good chapter. And even the competition should have been a good chapter for you all, because like I say, our country is just built up of competition, competitiveness in our country. So, you know, like I say, it doesn't always have to stick to what the book is saying. You can jump out of the box and talk about competition in different ways, how it's out there. You have competition in competitiveness in school. You have competitiveness where people compete against each other. You have competitiveness where companies compete against each other. So it's just talking about it in your own light and in your own word. Not everything comes from the book, because we'd be amazed the knowledge some people can gain from others, because some people not, you know, they said, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that, but you brought some light to it. And that's what I really want to see, you know, it's not sticking to the book. It's like just being able to say, I can give an example of this. This is what I think, you know, like when I talk about the monopoly and everybody was able to say BPL, it's good to be able to look at competition. Look at competition in the church. What is the competition in the church? Everybody want a bigger church. Everybody want more members. So in everything we do, businesses, well, the church is a business, so it's like a competition. You drive down the road, boy, that church bigger, and you drive over there, oh, that church bigger, you drive down there, oh, look at all the members in that church. So everything is a competition. It's competition. So I'm saying to you, I just want you to bring something to the table to say, okay, you know, this is my 5 cents, this is what I feel. And always remember, there's never a stupid question, there's never a stupid answer. A lot of times people stay in the shell and they don't want to ask questions or they don't want to answer stuff. And as I say, it's like us sharing information because everybody work in a different sector. You work at a offshore bank, like next person work at a commercial bank. Next person work, say, Island Lodge. Somebody work somewhere else, BOB. Somebody work at the development bank. But everybody brings something to the table. Everybody can give their 5 cents on, you know, this is what I see out there. You know, you can look at around the world and you're able, and why I raised the question to Mr. Lloyd about closure of bank accounts, because I was reading an article, bank customers report rise in sudden accounts closure. This is not in the Bahamas, but I was reading it and it just talked about how a customer was really upset because Bank of America just closed their accounts, no warning. One bank customer said that his Bank of America account was shut down, and the bank claimed it would take 10 to 20 days to resolve the issue. In the meantime, he was unable to pay his bills. And so stuff like that, I went online and, you know, I was just doing some work, my work entails research. So, and I just came across it and I was like, wow, interesting. And that's why I asked Mr. Lloyd if Scotiabank, how do they go about closing customers' account? And so his account was closed, so he was not able to pay his bills because his bills are paid from his account. They couldn't tell him why his account was closed. They also said to him, it would take 10 to 20 days for him to resolve. All of a sudden, I found out I broke. I couldn't feed my family. I couldn't pay any expenses. That's what he told the news. In another one of those situations where you just, how do you deal with the massive bank that bank powers you have no control over? So imagine you go to a Scotia, a Commonwealth, and you said, okay, now let me go make some online payment. When you look, your account is closed. Nobody can actually tell you why your account is closed. So like I say, I just came across this article and, you know, the front of his Bank America branch, the bank decided to transfer his money into another account, but did not give him any information. So what they did, they transferred his money into another account, but didn't give him any information. Then Bank of America then said that, told the news that the FBI had flagged this account since a scammer pretending to be him in an email, massing scams and asks a client for money. So this is why they closed this account, but guess what? They opened an account for him, but they didn't say anything to him because it was, to them, it was a suspicious transaction. So they just closed it, reported to the regulators, and that's what happened there. And if we'd look in 2021, the bank filled more than 1.4 million reports where fraudulent activities happen on customers' account. You know, so Bank of America told the news outlet to tell customers when they open an account that the bank reserved the rights to shut down an account at any time, and they can freeze funds if it is suspected for. Is that something that Scotiabank would do because they suspect a fraud? Would they just close the account and they don't tell the customer, or freeze the funds and they don't say anything to the customer in writing? Would that be a situation like that, Mr. Price?
Well, for fraud reasons, we can have a conversation with the customer and we'll let them know our decision, I guess.
Because like we mentioned, right, but like I know I mentioned before with the FIU, some things happen, customers don't know about it because, hey, you're on the FIU listing, so your account's getting frozen, whether you be the wife or the sister, and they feel they can connect you all together. So your account, the money is frozen on your account. But like I say, in this situation, I feel, how do you feel? You don't think they should have at least advised the customer before they just shut down the account because they felt it was some forgery or suspected fraud? Shouldn't they have informed the customer of this? And then they come along and say, Bank of America told the news that to tell customers that when you open an account, the bank has to reserve the rights to shut down an account at any time, and they can freeze funds if it suspects fraud. How would you relate to a situation like that, Ms. Minus?
Can you repeat that again?
Okay, I was saying that the bank should close the smart account because they said it was suspected fraud, and now the Bank of America, and they didn't even tell him they closed his account. They opened another account for him. So he said he wasn't able to feed his family, he wasn't able to pay his bills, he wasn't able to do a lot of stuff because they just closed his account, and this is the account he used, and they closed it, transferred the money to a different account, but didn't actually say to him, because they say the FBI had flagged his account because they felt it was a scammer pretending to be him in massive scamming emails.
Well, they should have notified the customer first before closing the account.
But even if they closed it, they should have said to him, okay, Mr. So-and-so, this is the reason it was closed, but this is your new, call him in, do something. But they did nothing of that. And then Bank of America is saying they have the right to, when you open an account, to shut it down at any time, and they can freeze it if they suspect fraud. But they don't have to tell you nothing. So that's kind of hard.
Yes, that's hard. I would, try my best to get to the bottom of it,
yeah, but they told him straight. They told him straight it's going to take 10 to 20 days to resolve the issue. So like I say,
and that's the same as if you lose your card get compromised. They don't give you I don't think some banks give temporarily card. In the meantime, you have to wait, so you have no access to no cash.
Yeah, you have to go to the bank.
Yeah, you have to go stand on the line, go in the bank to withdraw.
And we know that line is be long, and the people that stay forever and a day. All banks. I ain't care what they say. All banks. Oh, I don't know, Mr. Price. How would y'all deal with that at Scotia? Because would y'all give them a temporary card? Or because y'all say you can't come in there and get no money, you gotta go to the ATM. So how would y'all deal with that? I need under 1,500 or 2,000. I don't know the marks, but how would y'all deal with that if something, my card is compromised and I have to come into the bank? What would y'all do? How would y'all deal with that?
I mean, it's several ways you can deal with that. We can replace the card, give the customer a new card. But what we're saying is that the customer was defrauded of $1,500.
No, I was saying, I know y'all say you have to go to the ATM to go get money. You can't come in the bank to get money. So I'm saying, what happens to a customer whose card was compromised? Would y'all give them a temporary card in a day? Or how long would they have to wait to get a card?
Yeah, well, we produce our cards same day. I mean, it takes a matter of
Okay,
what, 5 or 10 minutes for you to get your card with your
okay,
name on it. Yeah, so we'll just replace it
okay.
right away.
Okay, that's good, because some banks don't. And as we know too, if your card is compromised and you have a debit card, you don't get your money back right away. Some banks take up to 45 days. You could go and you can't get your money back. So that money is on, they have to do investigation because it's a debit card. Unlike if it's a Visa, like a credit Visa, which acts just like a debit card, but with a prepaid Visa, Visa will give you back your money. But with the debit card, because it's a debit card, you don't get your money back. It could be up to 60 days before you get your money back. So imagine somebody compromising your card for $10,000. And that's why some people, I don't ever leave any money on my debit card. Since my card was compromised, being used in Europe or the UK, I didn't get my money back till must see 45 days. So I got me a prepaid Visa. If I didn't want to use my credit card, I got a prepaid Visa where I also got points. So I got a prepaid Visa. It just charged me $2 to load my card. So if I want to load my card with $5,000, just load the card with $5,000. If it's compromised, I know Visa can deal with it right away. But unlike other banks, the debit card, you're not going to get that money back, because Visa is not going to give you that back just like that, because it's a debit card. Yeah, so I just wanted to, as I say to you, it's just little things you could bring to light, share with the class, and just make the class more exciting, make it like it's not so boring. We all bring something to the table. We talk about different issues. And like I said, don't always have to be from the book. It could just be from a news clipping that you saw in the newspaper. If you go in the business section and you see something, you could just talk about it. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Any more questions about the exam? Any concerns? Hello? Ms. DeVoe, any questions? Ms. Russell, any questions?
No, the only
No,
question
ma'am, no
I had
questions.
was the exam format, and you clarified that. Thank you.
Yeah, and like I say, make sure y'all remember and realize that a 64 is a fail. So make sure y'all pay attention, do what you have to do. Like I say, it's multiple choice, true and false, and it'll be the same questions y'all see on the assignments. Be the same questions, and like I say, it may not be in the same format, but it's in the same question. It's the same questions, and like I say, chapter 7, I will try to send it off to y'all, but the assignment for 5 and 6 will come to you tomorrow. And like I say, I'll try to have back your paper to you. Well, Miss Francis, I have to send you the assignment. So as quick as you could get it to me, I can mark it so you'd have it to be able, oh, she's gone. You'll be able to use it for your study guide. Next week, Thursday, we will go over chapter 7. And like I say, chapter 7 is just dealing with the different type of accounts, different products and services, be it loans, be it savings, be it checking account, be it term deposit. That's what we'll be dealing with. We'll also talk about money, money, why people save money, stuff like that. So this chapter was very short. So if there's nothing else y'all want to discuss or talk about, we'll end the class, but the floor is open if there's anything you want to discuss or talk about. Anyone? No one?
No question.
Okay.
No
So
question.
everybody is okay and ready. Like I said, I'll have your papers marked and have it back to you by tomorrow, Saturday the latest. Try to mark it, have it back to you because like I said, I travel on Monday. So and I'm at the airport from in the morning and I don't leave here from 5 in the morning and reach in Nassau till 5 in the evening. So yeah. So I'll try to have your papers back to you by Friday or Saturday. Alrighty, so I'll have that, and then I'll have in the same turn, I'll have your assignment for chapter 5 and chapter 6. And like I say, when we move on to the second part of the book, which entails 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, the final exam will only be on 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I will not go back to chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That will be behind. We will fetch forward to, and I think the chapters ahead coming, it's very interesting, like I say, because most of you would be able to talk about it because you have payment system, you have mortgages, you have collateral, credit, appraisal, collateral, stuff like that. You'll be able to talk about. But like I say, exam is at BIF at 10 o'clock. Ms. Dane will invigilate it. And so, but most of all, I really appreciate it if y'all would look at chapter 7, read of chapter 7, like I say, because chapter 7 is very interesting. And it's something that all of you can talk about, especially most of you in the banking area system. Even if you're an offshore, you could talk about it because it deals with the different accounts. And like I say, please, you can look at the business section, even if you talk about the assets, just bring things to the table that we could talk about that, doesn't always have to entail what we're actually dealing with, but it deals with something that relates to banking. Sometimes you see central bank talking about the non-performing or talk about how the businesses, the non-performing has gone down, that just a certain amount of money, loans are being, banks are giving loans. And so it's just certain things you could go look at the business section and bring to class so we could just talk about it and have a lively discussion. So we don't always have to just look at the book. We can talk about stuff that's actually happening around the world, businesses happening in the Bahamas, things that's going on in the business world. Okay, I really appreciate that. All right.
No problem.
All righty. Anyway, I say good night, and we will talk again on Thursday, but like I say, I will have all of your assignment and your papers marked. And so if I give you your assignment tomorrow and I want to give you back your papers, so once I give you the assignment and once you have it back to me by Monday, Tuesday, I can have it back to you because there's no class on Monday, so you should be able to work on it. So I could have it back to you, so at least you would be able to have chapter 5 and chapter 6 to study, okay? With all the other questions, other chapters, okay? Alrighty, good night.
Good night.
Good
Okay.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.